so cool. That was such a feel-good story. Yeah, and we're going to ignore the fact that the only reason we got to have that feel-good story is because the Leafs are in cap hell. Yes, we are going to ignore that. Shut up. Let's go. Give me what I want. Kick down the door. Drew, you are not doing this. What? Not nice. There's a giant head. You hear yourself. I made like 2,000 of these. I'd like to have fun. With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Victory puppies! Oh, I'll throw it better next time. Hey, are you gonna cry and poop yourself because of a heartwarming moment at the end of a blowout game? No, because you're a dog, and that's why I love dogs. That's why I love you. You left way too early. Woo! Leafs win! 7-1! Woo! Over the Montreal Canadiens. And hey, if you think you know which way it's gonna go, then head on over to Sports Interaction. When the puck drops, when the ball throws. Is that how it goes? Sports Interaction has you covered. Pre-game, live betting on all major sports, and prop bets. Want to bet? Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN and download the Sports Interaction app using the QR code that you see on the screen, but only if you're 19 plus. Please play responsibly. For example, $2 Steve here put $2 on Sidney Crosby getting 1,500 points this season, and look, he did it. On my $2 bet, I won, let me check, $3.50, let's go! Free coffee Sunday. So, wow. There's not a whole lot to go with that game. Not a whole lot of nuance. The puck dropped. The official dropped the puck at the opening faceoff, and that was the last time the Habs were in it. Like, even kind of. These are the shots by period. 18-1? 18-1. I've never seen this. 18-1. Like, that's hilarious because Ilya Samsonov, like, obviously later in the game, like, he was laboring a little bit. But because of that first period, he really only had to play 40 minutes. Chris Weidman was all mad about Jett Alexander getting in for the final 70 seconds, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But I think he could have played from the opening faceoff, and the Leafs still would have won. The wild thing is, again, like, the Leafs have had a few games like this recently where they've squashed their opponents, only looking like semi-engaged. Like, the Leafs, again, were just generally dialed. They weren't playing their best, I don't think. They weren't playing takeover world beater globetrotter hockey. I think it's just that the Habs were going through the motions. That and the Habs are rebuilding and everyone's injured, yada yada, but I've seen weaker teams put up stronger efforts. Because the Leafs are resting Brody and Riley, Gustafsson, a bit of a clunky entrance, and Matthews and Marner go back and forth, and how do you still have it? Goal! Like, the Leafs were in milestone mode. The second Marner got that, he's like, yeah, I'm getting 30 tonight. And he sets up John Tavares for the second of the game, and he's like, yeah, I might get 100 points too. The beginning of the second is the first actual sign of life that the Montreal Canadiens showed in the game, and it still wasn't enough. There were 8 goals in this game, 7 of them counted for the Leafs, and the one against the Leafs was scored by a Leaf! Kovacevic shoots it, and it goes off Marner's skate, and the Habs pulled it within 1 despite playing 20 minutes of garbage. But like 90 seconds later, Ryan O'Reilly's out on the ice on a line with John Tavares and William Nylander. Imagine being Sheldon Keefe and actually writing that down. Imagine being an NHL coach and that's just your life. Filling out the marker board in the morning like, I feel like a kid playing Hut with a stolen credit card. Like, dude, your top 6 is Bunting, Matthews, Marner, Tavares, O'Reilly, Nylander, and you go, oh right, Yarncroke's out. Then Marner scores his 30th of the season for back-to-back 30-goal seasons. Less than a minute later, the Habs, they thought they weren't. It's 4-1 at the end of the second. It's not close. Power play early in the third. It's even not closer. Tavares bangs in his second of the game. It's reviewed for goaltender interference. And I throw up my hands because I have no idea. O'Reilly was standing in the crease, but then Matheson knocked him into his own goalie. Stop doing that, stop doing that, stop doing that. By the way, a really funny play. I wish so bad I could show footage because O'Reilly gets knocked down and Montembeault, as he's sprawling, accidentally throws his goalie stick at O'Reilly's face. Take it from a guy whose dog broke his nose just a few months ago. There's something about getting hit in the face. You just make a silly face. There's something about getting hit in the face that makes you go, bleh. That wasn't even the worst one. He took a puck to the face tonight. No one noticed. Goal counts, lol. Marner yeets a backhand pass up the ice in the general direction of the offensive zone. A Habs defenseman kicks it straight onto Matthews' stick. Why would you do that? He scores. And then on the power play, because poetic justice, Matthews shoots it, and I would have liked for him to get 40 there. I would have liked it, but Bunting gets the final goal. and I think that's great. Now, I just ran through the goals because, I mean, the Leafs killed them. They killed them. There was nothing on the line for either of these teams. The Leafs are just trying to not get hurt before the end of the season, and the Habs straight up look like they were collecting a paycheck. I mean, their version of the playoffs are coming up too. Like, listen, the Habs are bad. They're bad right now. They're not supposed to be this bad because of all the injuries, but they're still kind of best case scenario. I think they're roughly what the Sens are, if that makes sense. Like, they might have been on the fringe of that second wild card battle that's going on in the East. But we all know it's a young team, and they're going to get better, and they're going to get better quick. Playoff experience is great, but long off seasons are probably just as good, if not better, for development. And these guys don't want to get hurt right before they head into a time of the year that might actually be more strenuous on their body than an NHL schedule. It was two teams playing shinny and one was better at it. But at the very end, the Leafs, with 70 seconds to go, take Ilya Samsonov out of the net and replace him with Jett Alexander. Now, I can't remember, but I think we talked about Jett Alexander before. There were features written on him. He's basically the resident e-bug for the Toronto Maple Leafs, or whoever is in town for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think he's their practice goalie as well, or he's one of them. But tonight was a little different because he was a Leaf, an actual straight up Leaf, under contract Leaf, on an ATO, an amateur tryout. He was the backup. Like, when the game began, it was Samsonov and him. If Samsonov got hurt, it'd be him. There was a reason why they did this, and I'm going to read off of Cap Friendly because it's over my head. Cap Friendly's Twitter. The Leafs currently have $28,750 in LTIR, that's long-term injury reserve, cap space. This essentially gave them the choice of Wayne Simmons or Joseph Woll for tonight. With $28,750 in LTI space, this also gives them just enough space to sign Matthew Knies after sending down Simmons. The contract would have to have no performance bonuses to fit under the cap, though. We also believe and are trying to confirm it opens up the opportunity to sign Knies and recall Woll. Number 1, play tonight short, creating an emergency situation. Number 2, send Simmons down. Number 3, sign Knies. Number 4, recall Woll with a $0 cap hit, REE. I don't know what that means. The order of operations is important here. So basically, the Leafs are like about to sign Matthew Knies. I wouldn't be surprised if it was announced like before the end of this video, although it's a bit of a difficult situation. So Minnesota and the NCAA that Matthew Knies plays for, and also Mike Koster, who's also a Leaf prospect, their season just ended. They were in the final and they lost. But there's got to be a quick turnaround here, and Knies has to recover and sign an NHL contract because the Leafs have left just enough to sneak him onto their team. The Leafs have 3 games left. I wouldn't be shocked to see him play in all 3. The Leafs' next game is Monday in Florida, by the way. The Leafs end their season with 3 games in 4 nights. Monday in Florida, second half of a back-to-back, they get Tampa. Who the heck decided that? Thanks a lot. And then on Thursday, it's their last game of the season against the Red Wings. So, Cap Friendly's pretty smart. Hopefully that's what happens. I highly doubt the Leafs plan on going the rest of the season with Jett Alexander as the backup. Because here's the thing. Ilya Samsonov went down uncomfortably and looked hurt. And the camera was on him a lot. And I was terrified, dude. Terrified. Because the Leafs literally, they're screwed without that guy. They're screwed. Joseph Woll, I'm comfortable with. Sammy's the starting goalie, man. He's the starting goalie. What about Matt Murray? What about Matt Murray? Right now, I think Matt Murray is the 3rd best goalie in the Leafs organization. So if Cap Friendly is right, Sammy should play. No, I think my answer is still 0 games. I know there's a back-to-back situation. Dude, he can't. Do not play him. Maybe the final game of the season or something to freshen him up. You can. Under no circumstances can you play Ilya Samsonov against the Tampa Bay Lightning on Tuesday. They are going to run him constantly because they're not stupid. And even if they don't, you can't. Why on earth would you risk it? Now, what made me feel better is for the rest of the game, Samsonov had to move around a little bit, and he looked comfortable. He was moving well. He was popping up well. He looked fine. But when he first went down, I was extremely scared. The playoffs start in 9 days, and I don't need to end up in the hospital before that 9 days expires. Now, what else happened in that game that we haven't brought up yet? Wayne Simmons was in the lineup. Now, I assume he'll play at least one of these next 3 games. I don't know, on the road and everything. But this is very likely the last game he plays as a Leaf in Toronto. It's very likely, unless they face a ton of injuries in the playoffs. I can't see him playing another game in Scotiabank Arena. I think that was a good gesture. It was a final farewell. It was something he deserved. And by the way, let the record show, dude, he completely cold-cocked friggin' Michael Pezzetta with, gruesome down to the final moments of his career, this guy. Wayne Train, it's been a hell of a ride, dude. If you only caught the last bit of Wayne Simmons' career, maybe you're younger, maybe you're ending high school or something, dude, go back and watch some prime Wayne Simmons with the Flyers, that 2012 series against the Penguins, dude. This dude was doing all of that worse and hitting a lot more and potting 30. Like, he was automatic. Every team wanted him. Everyone thought they were drafting the next one of them. But there was only one Wayne Simmons. Simmons got into another dust-up later in the game, and that had Sheldon Keefe hot under the collar. Joel Edmondson cross-checks Michael Bunting in the back from behind. Now, that's sort of not surprising at all. That's what Joel Edmondson does. If the NHL rulebook was called ever at all ever, he wouldn't be in the league. And it's because of the league that Joel Edmondson believes he can just get away with this all the time. Speaking of Joel Edmondson and Wayne Simmons, remember when Edmondson cross-checked Wayne Simmons in the face during the Leafs-Habs playoff series and got a fine? He got a fine! Mike Hoffman recently made a great point about the league not having any consistency when it came to cross-checks in the head. Yes, Mike! Absolutely! So Captain Crosscheck comes over and he hits Michael Bunting from behind. And Michael Bunting fell down, so that must mean that he dove or something. I don't know. Wayne Simmons comes over and there's a brouhaha. And at the end of it all, in the penalty box, it's Joel Edmondson, Wayne Simmons, and Bunting! Now, if you watch Hockey Night in Canada with Steve Dangle on the Sportsnet YouTube channel, you'll know that when that happened and it resulted in a Habs power play, I had my hands up and was going, what did he do? These are the penalties, by the way. Joel Edmondson, unsportsmanlike conduct against Michael Bunting. Michael Bunting, unsportsmanlike conduct against Joel Edmondson, served by Mitch Marner. Wayne Simmons, roughing against Joel Edmondson. Joel Edmondson cross-checking against Michael Bunting. Wayne Simmons roughing against Joel Edmondson again. What adds to the confusion there is I spoke to Mike Stevens from the Hockey News, who was actually at the game, and he swears up and down that the call on the ice was roughing against Bunting. There were a lot of penalties. He could be mistaken. Who knows? But what are you talking about? Embellishment's a penalty, right? Like, if it's embellishing, they could have just called it that. But Bunting got unsportsmanlike? Just like Joel Edmondson? Like the refs just looked at those two and went, these are the same. Nothing for Armia for pulling it, Simmons being the third man in on a fight. Like, nothing. How did the Habs come out of that sequence with a power play? So as a result, Sheldon Keefe blows a gasket. This is, here, can I show you a picture? Look at that. Look at that grumpy man. He was very upset. Now, there was some talk online of, like, this is why everyone hates the Leafs. And, like, okay, you might have a point. Because Sheldon Keefe is completely blowing a gasket when the Leafs are up like 5-6-1, something like that, in a game that straight up does not matter. If it was 4-4, 3-3, if it was tied, deadlocked, it would not matter. But he's completely losing his mind. And, maybe you should save your bullets in that instance and try to get into the ref's good graces. For the Habs fans that said that, you're not even wrong, but I think the context with Sheldon Keefe and Michael Bunting is important. This just happened with Bunting. This just happened. And Keefe, straight up said to the media, Kyle Dubas is going to deal with it, whatever. Well, whether Dubas did or didn't deal with it, here's another game. Bunting takes a cross check to the back again, falls again, so it must be diving, I guess, again. So nothing has changed. Like, dude, Edmondson cross checking, I get. Simmons roughing, I get. How do the Habs come out of that with a power play? Like, on principle, right? Did it affect that game? No. But this is a stressful topic, I think, internally for the Toronto Maple Leafs and their coaching staff, because I think they want to use this guy. They'd like to give this guy top 6 minutes. They can't do it. They can't do it because of the way he's called. Well, that's his fault. Yeah, all right, it is his fault. But the dude has been paying a debt that does not seem like it can be paid off. I don't think it had anything to do with the game. I think it had everything to do with principle. And this is not a problem you fix before the playoffs. I don't know how you're going to get people to call Bunting properly. I don't know. And last, what I think a lot of you came for, this quote after the game. Jett Alexander, he plays in the NHL. He plays 70 seconds in the NHL. That is 70 more seconds than any of us will ever play in the NHL. He's going to get to keep the jersey. He's going to get to say that I played in the NHL. That's so cool. It's a magical moment. And after the game, Chris Weidman is asked about it in the Habs locker room. And regarding the Leafs bringing in ATO Jett Alexander, Chris Weidman said they'll get what they deserve in a few weeks. Wow. That's a spicy quote, and it got the hockey world talking. So let me help you all with the first part. Chris Weidman plays for the Montreal Canadiens. I'm sure you didn't know that, so I thought I'd let you know. Second of all, you have the whole Habs locker room to talk to, and you talk to Chris Weidman? Did no one else want to talk? And listen, I think this is a little bit of fun from a guy trying to stir up trouble on the Leafs' most historic rival. And I think Habs fans probably love Chris Weidman because of what he said. And I meant what I said earlier about the Habs are a young and up-and-coming rising team. They're going to be good. And when they're good, they ain't going to have Chris Weidman. He is a 33-year-old right-handed defenseman who has made a career off of being an alleged offensive defenseman, and he has 0 goals in 44 games this year. He had a good thing going in Ottawa, and then he screwed it up by being one of the main parts of that Uber story with the Senators where they were riding around and talking crap about all their coaches and everything. And after a few years in the AHL and the KHL, he's back with the Habs because they're like, hey, we need bodies. But when they have any aspirations of being even kind of good, he ain't going to be a Hab. So hopefully he didn't talk crap about any of his coaches in a cab in Nizhny Novgorod, because he's going to have to go back. Because he might be back in that league, if he's back in a league. And enough talking crap about him, because, like, who cares? Leaf fans, as opposed to what? No one likes us, man. No one likes us. So we have to like us. Enough with the infighting. Enough with all of it. The playoffs are around the corner. And I, along with Chris Weidman, will eagerly watch from the couch. And when we watch the game from our couch, Leafs Nation needs to be a nation united. Nobody likes us, and that's the way it should be. Do I know if the Leafs are going to win their first round against the Tampa Bay Lightning? No, I do not. But if they do, just add this to the list of reasons why it'll be great. Questions. What kind of diapers do you think Chris Weidman uses? Correct answer is it's Chris Weidman. Who cares? Do they put Jett Alexander's name on the cup? Yeah. Should Gustafsson replace Riley on PP1? Yeah, Eric Gustafsson had 3 assists tonight for the Leafs. That was great. I'm going to say this as, no, there's no good way to say it. It was the Habs. Like, it was the April 2023 Habs. There's a lot of guys who could have put that up. Do you think Wayne Simmons will retire after this season? Yeah, I do. Unless he plays in the minors with the Marlies, which I don't think he needs to at all. Yeah, no, I think he's retiring. He's going to turn 35 this year, and I know that because we're the same age. Ow. And I can't imagine how much his body hurts, because mine is sore because I've been on this exercise ball for too long. Oh, let's end with this. Any bets on the next Leaf to attempt a Michigan? And the first Leaf to score one? I think if Matheson wasn't there, Kampf had a chance. I totally forgot about that. David Kampf tried the Michigan. I saw a left-handed guy with a number that ends with 4, and I'm like, oh, Austin went for the Michigan. It was David Kampf. I still think it's Austin. He's going to be trying it, but Kampf earnestly trying the Michigan because he was in a position where it made sense. That's so much more disrespectful than Jett Alexander in the final 70 seconds of the game David Kampf. David Kampf. Imagine. So, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you liked this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. David Kampf tried the Michigan.